Guys, it's Chris DeGuido back with another episode of the DeGuido Report, episode number 4. Me and Abraham just got done recording our first episode of our other podcast show called Feeding the Elephant, where we dive more into serious topics. These DeGuido Report topics are more lighthearted, more fun. They can be serious sometimes, so it's just kind of like in the direction I want to take it. This is my personal show. It's not our together show. And so I just want to talk a few things, bust out a quick video today. I want to make content consistent. I don't want to go days and then without creating new content, because then the days turn into weeks and then weeks turn into months and then you lose your passion and then you just kind of forget you had this channel. And I don't want to ever do that. I want to bring content consistently so people can stay up to date on what I'm doing, on what's happening in the world. I write articles on the website. I always link my websites into the descriptions below on the YouTube channels. And my website is linked also on SoundCloud. You can find my website on Facebook and on Twitter. All the links are there. And I update the website with all the audio podcasts and all the video podcasts that we do. And so there's really no excuse as to why one person couldn't watch it on any platform. You can go on any platform and pretty much listen to me talk about anything that I want. Today, I was on Twitter, and I like to go on Twitter because I like to follow people who I don't agree with, and I like to follow people who I agree with, so I can see on both sides of the spectrum on a certain situation what both sides are thinking, what both sides are doing, and how they're engaging in certain topics and stuff like that. And so I was on Twitter today, and before I start naming individuals or an individual, I just want to point out how self-entitled we are. We are one self-entitled generation. We really are. We have gotten to the point where instead of saying and then backing up our words with our actions and taking to the streets and getting things done and pulling our bootstraps up and getting things done, instead of doing that, we go on the internet, we go on Facebook, and we go on Twitter, and we complain. And sometimes I'm guilty of that too. I'm not going to rule me out as I'm not perfect. But when people who have a large presence and a large following, that's all they do, then that bothers me. I'm a college student who works for an AV company who does podcasts and news on the side. That's something that's a hobby, and that's fun for me to do because I like being up to date and current. And but when you have thousands upon hundreds of thousands of followers, and you complain every single day about how messed up our world is and how messed up our president is and how messed up our politics and just government in general is, but you don't do anything about it, or you don't try to do anything about it, all you do is go on Twitter and cry, then I don't really have any respect for you. And that goes for everyone. That goes for the president, and that goes for people who are in the Senate, who are in Congress, or people who have journalism professions. We just don't live in a society or a generation anymore where we care to work for what we want to see happen. It's just kind of oh, the world sucks, so let me cry on the internet and then not do anything to change it. And then as the world gets worse, we just keep complaining and complaining and complaining. It's like a never-ending cycle of just self-entitlement. And it's laughable. I think it's laughable. So I went on Twitter this morning, and one of the people that I highly disagree with and highly dislike, I follow so I can see what he's thinking and tweeting out and saying about certain things that are going on in the world and his perspective. Shaun King, journalist, activist. Everyone knows who Shaun King is. He's one of the more popular quote-unquote activists, very supportive of Black Lives Matter and things of this nature. And he goes on Twitter, and he has close to 900,000 followers. That's a lot of people. It's like 879,000 followers. I have it pulled up right here in front of me. But he doesn't use that platform or presence to do anything. He doesn't educate his followers like he should. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have opinions on certain subjects. I think that would be dehumanizing to say you're not allowed to have an opinion on this, but he's all opinion. He's no facts. And that's what bothers me. So I was on Twitter this morning, and apparently so if you don't know this, okay, earlier this morning, Trump was retweeting these videos. And people were flipping out because they said they were anti-Muslim, and they were like, it was like bigotry. And well, if you go on Donald Trump's Twitter and you scroll down, you can see what I'm talking about. And Jaden Franson was posting these videos, and Donald Trump was retweeting him and sharing them. And so I'm going to go take you back to what Shaun King said. So Shaun King says, "Dear at Twitter." He's getting to the root of the problem here. "Dear at Twitter, by allowing Donald Trump to use his massive presence on here to share anti-Muslim hate videos created by a convicted hate monger, you are endangering millions of people. You must stop this." So if you read that tweet, that sounds pretty awesome, right? Like, oh no, Donald Trump is sharing anti-Muslim bigotry videos? Like, what in the world is going on? He must stop this. But let's go to these videos real quick, and I'm not going to play them over the microphone because the video would sound horrible. But I'm just going to kind of show you or tell you what's going on. And then like, I'm going to try and find the videos on YouTube and then put them in the description below so you can check them out. So Donald Trump, the first video Donald Trump retweeted was Islamist mob pushes teenage boy off of roof and beats him to death. That's the first video. So I don't know where the anti-Muslim bigotry in that video is. Islamist mob, a group of people who are Islamist, Muslims, push teenage boy off roof and beats him to death. Where's the bigotry in that video? That sounds horrendous. That sounds like the same kind of group that would, I don't know, fly planes into our buildings on 9/11. Sounds like the same group of people who do these terrorist attacks that we've been experiencing over the last few years, increasing, and that's happening in Europe, in Britain, in Sweden, and all these different places. Yeah, that's not really bigotry. That's just like showing what's going on in their world, in their country. That's what it's showing. There's another one, and this one isn't too dramatic. It's like Muslim destroys a statue of the Virgin Mary. And okay, I get it. That's probably someone else's property, and he's destroying the statue. That's wrong. I don't really care about people smashing statues, honestly. What I do care about is when people smash statues on other people's property that isn't their own, and then they record it and they're arrogant about it on camera. And that's what this is. You know, this guy didn't go out and buy a statue of Mary and then smash it. You can see the video. He's on someone else's property and he's destroying their property. And it just goes to show you how like having the statue of Mary is that Catholic Christian view, or like that symbolism, and this Muslim guy is destroying it. No bigotry there. If anything, the bigotry is against Christians and Catholics, and that's the only bigotry I see, is a Muslim guy destroying property of a Christian and Catholic because of their faith. That's bigotry. But Shaun King will have you think otherwise because the Muslims are the minority, and they spin this narrative. And this is the last video that I saw on Trump's Twitter before you just get into other stuff that isn't related. And it says a Muslim migrant beats up a Dutch boy on crutches. And like these fight videos are sometimes hard to analyze because like they're edited in such a way that it starts at the fight, so you don't get to see what happens beforehand. You don't know if the boy on crutches was like talking bad about the Muslim guy or stuff like that. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but the video shows this brutal beatdown. This Muslim guy is just brutally beating this kid who's on crutches. And the camera guys are the Muslim guy's friends, and they're sitting there laughing, and they're not doing anything about it. The only bigotry I see is the Muslim guy beating up a kid on crutches. Yeah, the only hateful things that I see is the Muslim guy beating up the kid on crutches. So my question to Shaun King is, where is the president's hatefulness and bigotry towards these Muslim guys? They're beating kids to death and throwing them off roofs. They're destroying personal property of Christian and Catholics, and they're beating up kids who are on crutches who can't defend themselves. So Shaun King, you wise one, where is the bigotry on the president's part? And he'll probably never see this video or hear this podcast, so he'll never respond. But this is how the left operates. They'll take a group that seems like they're being like they're being mistreated. They're the minority, like Trump's travel ban keeps these people down and oppressed, and it's bigotry, and it's hateful, and it's racist. But then, like, if you actually go back and look and do your research, like, I had to see for myself what Shaun King was talking about. And when I've looked to see what he was talking about, Shaun King is 100% wrong in this situation, period. That's not an opinion either. That's 100% fact. He's 100% wrong in this situation. Absolutely wrong. And then it goes back to that self-entitlement. Shaun King doesn't like Donald Trump. Therefore, anything Donald Trump does is hateful and bigotry. Even if Donald Trump shares videos of Muslims killing other Muslims, of Muslims beating up other boys who can't defend themselves. And actually, the second video was bigoted. Absolutely, the second video was bigotry. That was 100% bigotry. You know why? Because the Muslim guy destroyed the property of a Christian because that person was a Christian. That's bigotry. When you take your hatefulness out on someone because they don't agree with you and you don't like their beliefs, that's bigotry. So Shaun King doesn't know what he's talking about. And I know that's going to sound more opinionated than anything. I'm going to say in this situation, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It makes me sick when I see that people like to talk big, and then they don't know what they're talking about, and then like people respond to his garbage like, yes, you are absolutely right, they should stand up to this, and blah blah blah, when he doesn't even know what he's talking about half the time. So that's Shaun King for you. Liar, activist, he wannabe activist. If he was a real activist, he would be actually changing the world. But he's not. He's crying on Twitter to his 900,000 followers. That's where we're at. That is where we are at. And it's sad. It is really sad. But that's all I have for today. I just wanted to make this podcast. It's a little bit more heavy because I wanted to talk about how like detached from reality we are. We let technology control us so easily. Even me, I let technology control me so easily. Because we're used to doing everything on our phones. We're used to everything popping up right in front of us on a notification. And I understand that that's just the way it is now. But when you don't live it in reality 100% of the time, then that's dangerous. For Shaun King doesn't live in reality. He's been brainwashed to think and formulate opinions off of that brainwashing that anything that doesn't agree with him or anything that he doesn't find acceptable, then there's hateful, racist, and bigotry behind it. That's the only song he knows is the racist and bigotry card. And if you go on Shaun King's Twitter and scroll down, it's all negative stuff about Donald Trump. Not about all the Democratic senators being caught up in sexual harassment and sexual assault and rape. Not about the fact that Hollywood is imploding on itself and becoming more and more sexually oriented, and like every day someone comes out as a sexual assault or a rapist. No, what he does is he cries on Twitter that about Donald Trump. Like, get over yourself, dude. Like, look around what's going on. You cry that there's oppression of women in our country, and you somehow spin it to Donald Trump, but then you don't look in the Middle East where there really is oppression of women in the Middle East. Being stoned to death because they looked at another man. Or stories where the man cheats on the wife and she gets stoned. Or she cheats on him and she gets stoned to death. People are actually dying over there. And then you come back over here and it's like, oh, women are oppressed because Donald Trump is president. And then you have actual women dying because of their government and state religion. Why don't you put your real world glasses on? Shaun King and the rest of the leftist world. You look over here and it's like the LGBT community is oppressed. And maybe at one point it really was. But now it's so socially acceptable and normal that it's not. It's to the points where like nothing is shocking about the LGBT community anymore. Like maybe in the 30s and 40s and 50s it was like, oh my gosh, he or she is gay. Oh my gosh, throw up cross and crucifix, like. But now it's like, okay, you're gay, cool. You want to grab a hamburger? You want to grab a beer? I don't care. I don't care about your personal life. Let's hang out. It's normal. It's not viewed as weird anymore. And but in the Middle East, you got the Muslim community, and they are majority Muslim, okay? And they're throwing gay people off rooftops because they're gay, and Allah does not accept that. I mean, in the Christian religion, being homosexual is unacceptable as well. It's not viewed in a glorified light whatsoever. But we're not throwing gay people off buildings over here. So I think it's time for like a reality check for our leftist friends, Shaun King and all his followers and everyone else. Stop crying on Twitter. And you want something to change. How about actually going outside and being that change? Do something about it. Don't cry. You're not powerful if you just sit back and let things happen and then keep complaining. But that's the podcast for today. That's all I got. And I hope to make another one here soon. I've been working a lot more, which is great. I love working. And but I'm still going to bring more content, more news to you guys. And I hope you stay tuned. And like I said, if you are new, click that subscribe button, hit like, comment. And you can even disagree with me in the comment section. I'm all for that. This is what this is all about, is people expressing their opinions, people expressing their beliefs. We can have rational discussions like this. I'm not going to be right 100% of the time. Sometimes I'll throw out my feelings over facts. Okay, that's just how we are. We're humans. Okay. So like I said, I'll see you guys later, and I hope you have a great day.